The council chamber was vast, its domed ceiling streaked with light from distant stars, yet the occupants paid little attention to the cosmos above. Representatives from dozens of intelligent species murmured among themselves, evaluating the humans who had just arrived for a routine diplomatic mission. At first glance, humans appeared small, fragile, and unremarkable compared to towering Zalari warriors, serpentine Vryn, and luminescent Zainari scholars. The consensus was unanimous, harmless, manageable, and amusingly primitive. Sergeant Kira Vance stood at the center of the delegation, hands clasped behind her back, her uniform immaculate. Her presence alone made several of the alien observers frown. There was a quiet intensity in the way she scanned the room, a calm focus that belied the casual stance she held. Kira's eyes, sharp and unflinching, met the curious gazes of diplomats who assumed that humans were simple creatures with little to offer in the way of military competence. "Are they really going to participate in the peacekeeping mission?" whispered one Vryn delegate to a Zainari scholar, her voice low and tinged with disbelief. "They're small," the scholar replied, "and they look fragile. It will be more like a symbolic presence." Kira allowed the whispers to reach her. She had heard this before. Humans were underestimated constantly, dismissed as fragile and predictable. Yet she had also seen what a single human, trained for war and unafraid of risk, could accomplish. As the council debated strategy, Kira reviewed the mission dossier. Rogue factions had taken control of a remote colony, threatening innocent lives. The aliens assumed humans would act cautiously, deferentially, or even hold back in deference to alien tactics. But Kira didn't intend to follow expectations. She was a Marine, and for humans, appearances were often deceiving. Every calm glance, every measured step, masked a capacity for ingenuity, ruthlessness, and precision that no alien species could yet comprehend. And when the mission began, the galaxy would learn exactly why humanity's reputation as harmless was a dangerous lie. The shuttle touched down on the barren surface of the colony planet with barely a whisper, dust swirling around the landing bay. Alien observers crowded near the viewport, eyes wide with expectation. For them, this operation was routine, a straightforward liberation mission. They assumed humans would act cautiously, relying on superior alien tactics and firepower. They had no idea what they were about to witness. Kira Vance led her small squad from the shuttle, moving with a confidence that unnerved even the most seasoned alien soldiers. Her approach was quiet, deliberate, and terrifyingly precise. While the aliens relied on broad, overwhelming displays of force, Kira preferred surgical efficiency. She assessed every vantage point, every patrol route, every potential weakness. In minutes, her team had infiltrated enemy lines with no alarm raised. The first confrontation was subtle yet shocking. A rogue patrol appeared around a corner, armed, confident, expecting resistance. Kira acted instantly, using the environment to her advantage. Shadows became allies, silence became a weapon. Within moments, the patrol was neutralized without a single shot fired. Alien observers gaped at the sight, a single human moving with speed, precision, and ruthless pragmatism. As the squad advanced deeper into the colony, Kira's tactics grew more audacious. Explosives dismantled barricades silently. Traps redirected enemy forces into choke points. Psychological maneuvers sowed confusion. The aliens watched, incredulous, as she dismantled entire units of enemy combatants with surgical timing, leaving minimal casualties among innocents. By the end of the first day, the rogue faction was destabilized, morale shattered, and the aliens were struggling to comprehend what they had witnessed. Humans, they realized, were not bound by conventional rules of engagement. They adapted, innovated, and executed with deadly effectiveness. What they had assumed would be a routine operation had turned into a masterclass in infiltration, precision, and lethal ingenuity. The galaxy had never seen anything like it, and it was only just beginning. Kira's team had advanced to the heart of the rogue faction's stronghold, a sprawling complex carved into jagged cliffs and fortified with alien technology. Alien observers hovered in shuttle orbit, recording every movement with a mixture of awe and dread. They had expected a standard liberation mission, but what they were witnessing was far beyond anything in their tactical manuals. Inside the base, Kira moved like a shadow. Her squad neutralized communications arrays with precision, cutting off the rogue leader's ability to coordinate. Each action was calculated to instill fear, disrupt strategy, and minimize collateral damage. Yet it had the effect of overwhelming every enemy they encountered. Alien observers began to murmur nervously among themselves. Humans weren't just efficient, they were unpredictable, creative, and unflinchingly ruthless. When Kira finally confronted the faction's commanders, the aliens were shocked. She didn't charge blindly or engage in theatrics. She leveraged intelligence, psychological pressure, and carefully orchestrated threats. Explosives isolated key positions, forcing the commanders into a controlled confrontation. Human ingenuity in warfare was on full display. Improvised tools, environmental manipulation, and psychological tactics combined to leave the rogue leaders disoriented and terrified. The alien observers had studied countless species' combat behavior, but none had ever witnessed such a blend of calculated ruthlessness and adaptability. Kira's actions skirted the boundaries of interstellar law. They were technically within military code, but they pushed the limits of what the aliens considered acceptable. Some whispered words like war crimes, yet the effectiveness of her strategy was undeniable. By the mission's end, the rogue faction lay dismantled, and their leadership captured or neutralized. Alien observers, once convinced humans were harmless, now stared in awe. They realized that humanity's so-called weakness was a myth, a carefully maintained illusion masking a species capable of ingenious, relentless, and terrifying action. The lesson was clear: underestimate humans at your own peril, for they wield ingenuity and ruthlessness as naturally as breathing, and the meaning of war crimes had just been redefined in their presence. The mission concluded with the rogue faction dismantled and the colony secure, yet the alien observers remained in stunned silence. They had watched humans operate under pressure, adapt to chaotic situations, and execute strategies with precision and lethal creativity. What they had assumed were minor skirmishes had become a showcase of human ingenuity and ruthless pragmatism. Kira Vance stood atop the command center's observation deck, scanning the horizon as her squad secured the last holdouts. She had completed her mission with minimal losses, yet the impact extended far beyond the battlefield. Alien diplomats and military attaches now looked at humans not as fragile, harmless creatures, but as a species to be reckoned with. Whispers of, "They are unpredictable and they are terrifying," echoed through comm channels. The alien students, once confident in their tactical superiority, now recorded detailed logs of human behavior. They noted the creativity in improvisation, the courage under fire, and the uncanny ability to turn every disadvantage into an opportunity. Kira's methods had skirted the lines of interstellar law, tactics that some called war crimes, but to humans they were simply efficient, practical, and necessary. As the shuttle lifted off, leaving the liberated colony behind, the observers realized the truth about humanity. It was not merely survival instincts that made humans dangerous, but their capacity to combine intelligence, ingenuity, and moral flexibility when circumstances demanded it. Other species might underestimate humans in peacetime, but in conflict, that underestimation could prove fatal. By the time the human contingent returned to their base, a new understanding had spread across the galaxy. Humans were resilient, adaptable, and unafraid to push limits. The story of Kira's mission would ripple through diplomatic and military circles for decades. No species would ever think of humans as harmless again. Humanity had proven once and for all that when it came to war, their definition of survival and retribution was absolute. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson: never doubt a human marine,